Senator Urquhart.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President. Today in the House of Representatives we heard from many government ministers highlighting our plan to tackle climate change. And we've just heard from Senator Brandis about the issue about the fast-tracking. There have been 35 parliamentary inquiries into climate change since 1994. People are sick and tired of politicians talking about this. They actually want something done. Climate change is an issue that is not going to go away. It cannot be chased away simply by the scaremongering of those opposite. And one thing is absolutely clear. It is in Australia's long-term national interest to deal with climate change. The Gillard Labor government has introduced a package of clean energy bills to Parliament that will ensure Australia reduces its carbon pollution in the most economically efficient way. This way is to put a price on carbon, which says to 500 or so big polluters that enough is enough. That is the time to pay for every tonne of carbon pollution put into our atmosphere. The Gillard Labor government has a plan to remove 160 million tonnes of carbon pollution from the Earth's atmosphere by 2020. It is about using a market-based mechanism to Australia's advantage. This mechanism will involve a fixed price for 3 years from July 1, 2012. Then move to a floating price after July 1, 2015. The fixed price will start at $23 per tonne of carbon pollution and progressively increase each year, providing certainty to those businesses and allowing for a manageable transition. After the 1st of July 2015, a cap will be placed on Australia's emissions and the market will decide on the carbon price. But there will be a price floor for the first 3 years of the floating price system to ensure the transition is as smooth as possible. At the core of an emissions trading scheme is a cap on carbon pollution. The cap will guarantee reductions in carbon pollution and allow us to achieve our long-term goal of an 80% reduction from the 2000 levels by 2050. That is 17 billion tonnes of carbon pollution out of the atmosphere between now and 2050. This emissions trading scheme will also involve international linking to give Australians access to a broader range of abatement opportunities. This helps contain costs and promote international action on climate change. I note that the Prime Minister has recently met with the President of the European Union, President Barroso, and their discussions naturally led to what they are doing to combat climate change. I understand Mr Barroso said Australia's decision to put a price on carbon emissions is an important step both environmentally and economically, because it is in our European experience the most cost-effective way to reduce emissions and also a great green business opportunity. We'll continue our joint work for a global climate regime, and also on a bilateral basis we will see what we can do together. To those opposite that say we're acting alone, you're only kidding yourselves. Australia is the 15th largest emitter of carbon pollution, with emissions comparable to many European nations, but with a population many times smaller. This Gillard Labor government is committed to a smooth transition and will use all of the revenue to support households, to invest in a clean energy future and climate change programs, and to support jobs and competitiveness in energy-intensive programs. For households there will be tax cuts, increases in family payments and higher pensions, benefits and other government allowances. 9 out of 10 households will receive assistance through tax cuts and/or payment increases through the transfer system. And in total, in my home state of Tasmania, more than 174,400 people will receive household assistance through the transfer system. This assistance is permanent and will increase. The government will review the adequacy of assistance each year and will increase it further if necessary. We are taking this opportunity to make significant reforms to our tax system that will see over 1 million Australians no longer required to lodge a tax return. The government understands there are a great many Australians who are concerned about this policy, who are concerned to understand the impact of the Clean Energy Future package on their households and on their families, which is why the government has worked very hard to ensure that the information is provided to the Australian people. This is also why the government has committed to extend—
Urquhart, your time has expired.